Aloha, hola, aho. Hello. We roll out the red carpet of golden liquid love light in honor of the queendom comeliness of grandmother, mother, daughter, sister, lover, warrior, priestess, goddess, and friend. And we welcome as we greet the frequencies of Quanto Mansi and Quanto Shivo, not as distant stars in some unreachable sky, but as kindreds, bright flames within the same soul fire. This circle we form is not just of voices, but of lifetimes weaving inward, of wisdom that blooms when heard, and of memory that reawakens when witnessed. May this conversation be more than words. May it be a temple where the breath of the ancients meets the pulse of the eternal here and nowness. We enter this sacred exchange not to teach, but to God's self remember, not to impress, but to commune in heroic humility, not to reach upward, but to spiral inward and outward simultaneously. In love, in light, and in deep listening, let the eldership within each of us speak. Let the spirit in all of us rise. Let the God self-remembrance begin as we are born within, without beginning or end. Aho. And you know what divine providence is?
Providence as in destiny? No.
Yes, you might say. I mean, in from some spiritual perspectives, divine providence kind of insinuates that we are all living by the grace of God. But when you're living in divine providence, it's like for me, I got to Mexico, I rode the bus 35 hours. I got to Mexico, I had $20 in my pocket. I didn't know where I was going or who I was going to be meeting or what was going to happen. So I had surrendered to being guided and blessed by spirit. And that is divine providence in the sense that after I arrived in Mexico, the first day I was there, I'm walking down the street and $100 bill floated up to my feet.
Yeah.
So these moments of divine providence, these synchronicities were just
Yeah,
happening.
synchronicity. Okay, we use the word synchronicity, where
Blessings, it's like a
yeah,
synchronicity that is really blessed is considered divine providence that spirit ordains you to receive this gift. It's unexpected, but very much needed.
yeah, and it is a sign from the universe. It is the language of the universe, and the universe is talking to you and letting you know that you're on the right
Yes,
path. Yeah,
very much as this moment does that very same thing because I met,
you need to hold it.
yes, is that your book?
Yes, so that is written by my mentor, and it's an unusual book in that you have 30 different players in the book, 30 different characters in the book. So it's a real life book. It was a workshop that we did. It was a 21-day workshop, and that where and it was called Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi means I am God. Okay, there are four major sentences, which is like I am God, you are God, right?
Mhm.
And this whole world is consciousness. It is alive. It is awake. So this whole book was on that, on how through our mundane, everyday life moments, and not mundane. By mundane, I just mean everyday life moments.
Right,
Also, we can get a glimpse of the oneness of the cosmos.
right.
So the whole thing was centered around that, and and people are sharing their real life events, experiences, what is coming up every day. There was a meditation, so this became the book. It also has an interview. um, During those 21 days we also had a world global transformation day, so I was interviewing Shivo, so we have my interview also in there, but I'm also a character in this. And we helped co-write this, but it is my mentor's book. um, and one of the things, I don't know if you got that from my intro, but one of the things I enjoy doing is that during COVID, we had the world united. So it was talking to spiritual leaders from 5 continents, and I worked especially with people in Australia and in US, and I would interview these spiritual leaders, and we would have not interview, we would have interactions with this leader. So yeah, I think that that was an important part of my journey. And yes, so this is the book. It is on how to be a cosmic channel, because what we are experiencing in this moment has, in a way, never happened before and will never happen again. Right. So while there is the wisdom and experience of the past, there is the newness, things that we don't know about the future, but this moment is so unique. And we need to channel right here, right now, right? We need to connect to the cosmos right here, right now. And how to do that, and what are the blocks, and how to really do that. What are the sutras? What are the keys for that is really what this book is about for me.
Beautiful.
And
You said that book will be available on Amazon coming up in the near future?
Yes, yes. It is available in India. We are working on how to get it in USA. And one of the things that we frequently do with the book, and I think Shivo thinks that as my contribution, is we open a page from this book, and we check into what is the universe guiding us in this moment.
You open it randomly.
Yes.
Yes,
Do you want me to
I love
do
when
that?
that happens. It's beautiful. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to connect to you, Louis.
Yes.
I'm connecting to myself. I'm connecting to the space between us. And this space has everything in the universe, every being. We will call upon your gurus, your masters, your lineage, your journey. We will call upon my gurus, my lineage. We are all in that same space. And now I'll ask the universe, what is the guidance for us today? Wow, so this is so interesting, because I was just talking about this last night with Shivo. And incidentally, the page I opened up is a conversation with me and Shivo.
Beautiful.
So it talks about forgiveness, anger, and deep apology.
Well, have you ever heard of the Course in Miracles?
Yes, I have. I have.
Well, today's lesson in the Course in Miracles is pertaining to forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the main themes of the Course in Miracles.
Yes.
And so, interestingly enough, I discovered this Course in Miracles back in the 70s. but I recently reconnected. That's how I met Wayne. Wayne is a part of a Course in Miracles study group, and that's how we met. And my partner's chiropractor told her she should meet this woman who's a painter. And this woman invited us to the Course in Miracles that meets here in Knoxville. And her brother has been giving presentations at the Course in Miracles on Sundays for many years now. He's actually
Oh,
a retired physicist. So that's how I met Wayne. So this is really, the synchronicities are weaving their way.
exactly,
I'm
exactly.
getting
And
chills, I feel the energy speaking.
yes, so so here, um, Shiva talks about we are having an interaction on what is identity, a ego anger, and what is a cosmic anger. Okay, you know, what is the difference? Because sometimes we are angry based on our subconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got frustrated, we got jealous, we got, it's based on our identity.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is the universe who wants to pass that message through you. Okay, because that is what that system needs, that is what that situation needs. That situation needs to be shaken up. So what is the difference? How can we tell what is identity anger and what is cosmic anger? So what Shiva says is that if that anger comes from the feeling that I am right and this person is wrong, okay,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes from, then that is your anger.
Uh-huh.
And when it is like, I don't know, I am observing this whole situation, I am seeing me, I am seeing you, this is the situation, and I don't know, and it flows, but you're not trying to prove your point. When that is, when you are in, I don't know what is best. The universe knows, but it is flowing through you. That is cosmic anger, and that is the anger that can cause transformation. Most of the times our anger is identity anger, but sometimes it flows like this, and that can change systems. So that is the time where anger can create something new.
Hmm.
Most times it just burns, it just burns things, it can burn connections. And I think now we live in a world where you have built a relationship for 10 years, 20 years, and someone says something, and then that's the end of that relationship.
Hmm.
We are in that place. So I think there is also forgiveness. I think there are many people who have asked Shivo that what is the one thing we can do, right? One thing, like, I'm old, my body does not support certain kinds of practices, or maybe my memory is not that sharp, or whatever, like, I'm going through this illness. What is the one thing? And uh, I feel that the message is that, deeply apologize, but not just saying sorry, not just saying sorry. Maybe that's a start where you say sorry, but also where you go into that incident, you feel, you observe that incident, and you are really, you understand what it might, you put yourself in other person's shoes, you understand what it might have done to them. You want you want maybe you may not be, but you want the cosmos, you want to make it better.
Mhm.
When you are in that state and you apologize, I think that that is one of the ways to connect to divine like no other. In that humility, in that surrender, I think that
Yeah.
is one way to experience to become close to the divine.
Well, you shared poetry. We shared poetry the last time we were together.
Yes.
And I have words that come to mind, like you just mentioned humility. I have a saying. Sometimes people tell me that I have a way with words.
Mm-hmm.
Words have their way with me.
Yes,
The
yes,
words
yes.
that have their way with me, they are like those two different types of anger. When it's the cosmos or the cosmic inspiration, I have nothing to do with it. I'm receiving it, but that word, these words, heroic humility, because I oftentimes think heroic humility gives us the ability to find the strength to be brave enough to surrender in heroic humility. And we surrender in submission to serving creatress, creator, and all creation. And I'm wanting to thank you again for who you are, what you're doing, and Shivo. I want to, if you will allow me, please, I'd like to do a little brief introduction
Yes.
because I call this show Conversations with Elders.
Yes.
And I like to introduce it by saying aloha, hola, aho, hello,
Hello.
and we thank you. We are here to roll out the red carpet of golden liquid love light in honor of grandmother, mother, daughter, sister, lover, warrior, priestess, goddess, and friend. Thank you for being here and joining us. And even though we've started this beautiful conversation, I would like you to know who we're speaking with. So please kindly introduce yourself and tell us how people should pronounce your name and give us a little background because what you've just shared with us, the book is called How to Be a Cosmic Channel in the Era of Chaos.
Yes.
How appropriate can we get?
So hello, namaste. I
Bless
am
you.
Mansi.
Namaste.
Uh, my name is Mansi Bhagdev, but I have added the suffix Quanto to my name because it is my connection to our spiritual path, which is called Quanto Life. I'm honored to be the co-founder of Quanto Life. Quanto Life is a unique spiritual path which is especially created for these very chaotic times, where there is an accelerated evolution that is happening. So our primary purpose is to observe this chaotic energy and to transform it into creation. And on our path, one of the most important things is observation, which is also one of the key concepts in quantum mechanics. So it is the observation, it is the awakening that changes the nature of the universe. And that is part of the origin story in many cultures, including Hinduism. And it is also the bedrock and the basis of quantum mechanics. So that's why we have the name Quanto Life as our spiritual path.
So you're saying that this inspiration came to your mentor and you,
Yes, yes.
and your background. You have a very interesting and diverse background, don't you have? Do you have what degrees do you hold? What?
So I have a double master's in chemistry, and I studied in Virginia Tech. I also have a degree, a master's diploma in education, and so chemistry was my background. I grew up uh, as an only child, and my father was extremely psychic. So we would have people coming home every day. So I would listen because he was a land whisperer. He knew what land wanted. He would always tell me, Mansi, you are living in a home, and this is what you want the home to be. But what does the home want to be? Because the space is living too. So that part of my life and science, they walked together. And I would teach international bachelorette chemistry, 12th grade. I would teach in college. I would teach chemistry labs in college. And then my son was born with many medical needs. And that transformed my whole life because I was like, who am I? Why am I here? That was a pivotal point. And I think that took my journey from a chemist to an alchemist. I think he is he is my he has he, and he was the only time where I asked God for something. For me, I call the space, for me I call him Krishna. So that was the only time. I have never asked for anything like a job, a husband, a marriage, education, money. Like, I have never asked anything. This is the only thing I said, that please, Krishna, come into my life. And he came, and my life was completely transformed. That's when till then, that my spiritual journey was very convenient. It was, everything was flowing a certain way. And suddenly, I think Krishna had come, and my whole journey changed. And I also met my mentor just before he was born. So that was God.
You asked and you received.
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to, you were speaking before, you mentioned observing.
Yes.
Observing the difference between the two types of anger, which one was cosmic anger and personal.
Identity, yes, identity, which comes from your own subconscious, right? It comes from your hurts, your patterns, your blocks, and actually, do you want me to tell you a story that is a part of our mythology, which is relating to anger?
Yes.
So in you were talking about sacred spaces earlier, right? Because spaces are living too.
Yes.
And so in India, we build mandirs or temples around these sacred spaces, right? We build that, and we have something. We have Shiva, who is consciousness, who's everywhere, okay? And so consciousness is spread around, and Shakti, that is energy, is concentrated. She's different at different places. And Shiva is the consciousness which is spread out all over. So there is this temple, and it is called Simheshwar Mahadev temple. And Simheshwar, Sim means lion, okay? So there's a very beautiful story of Shiva and Shakti, which is the masculine and feminine. And the feminine, she has gone through the rigors of penance, right? To become one with the masculine. She's gone through all these rigors. And she says that my skin is all burnt from that penance. So she tells the creator, why don't you give me give me beautiful skin, because now I want to enjoy. I have gone through the penance, and now I want to enjoy my marriage. Okay. And my skin is burnt from all this penance. So the creator says, yes, you will get this, but you will have to wait. So she gets angry. Okay. She is so mad. Like, she has done all this penance for centuries, and now she's denied. She's mad, and she's so mad that it takes the form of a lion. Okay. And this lion is hungry, and this lion just wants to eat. And this lion looks at her, and he's like, I want to eat you. Okay, because that is how anger is. It wants to devour you. It's hungry. It wants to eat. And she realizes, oh my God, see, this is what anger is, right? It devours, it kills, and she's like, I created it, right? It came through me. So she surrenders. She's like, okay, you may eat me because I have created this. Okay, so she surrenders to him, and you may eat me. And the lion, suddenly he feels like, oh my God, I want to eat my own mother. What is this anger? Like, he feels so guilty. It's like, oh my gosh. So she says that, okay, you know what? There is a place you can go to, and you can observe yourself. You can observe what has happened. You have started becoming aware, but you can, you can sit here and you can understand your nature. You can sit in this divine space. And he sits there, and he understands reality. Okay. And he becomes conscious, and this place becomes conscious. Now, anyone who has an anger issue goes and observes there, they absorb that vibration, their anger transforms. And this lion then becomes a vehicle of the goddess, because now this anger has become compassion. This anger is still energy. It's still the same energy. But now it has compassion. It has now that energy is channelized into doing something beautiful. So this is a story that just came to me, and
Beautiful. I want to share something with you. When you mentioned the lion, I thought of this. I do yarn and bead paintings,
oh my gosh.
and this is called the white lion.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have any kind of white lion in your understanding of cultures and that in your travels? Have you ever heard of the white lion?
But I am thinking more of the light, like white as in light lion.
Yes.
And have we have a deity, we have a form of the divine who's
Mhm.
also a cosmic channel and in this book.
Mhm.
And he is called Narasimha. He is part man and part lion.
Ah.
And you know, when someone, and he always, and he appears when you are on the side of the truth, but the other side seems too powerful, and you trust the universe, and you're still walking on the right path, and he comes. That
Hmm.
is when he comes for you, when he sees that you are on this, but the other side, and he comes for the other side too, because he wants transformation.
Aha.
He wants a humbling. He wants even that powerful, egoistic person also. So he's not just coming for this guy who's in surrender. But you really reminded me of him. And Shiva has a special connection also to this. We both have a very special connection to this lion. And when you're showing it to me, I can resonate it. I resonated through my culture. But what does the white lion mean? I'm intrigued.
The story I should tell of the white lion is one an Akashic record reader told to me. I was gifted an Akashic record reading with this person who had something known as the records of creation. During my first reading, which was gifted to me right before traveling to Egypt in 2008, I was told I carried 7 aspects of Krishna, 13 aspects of Ishmael, and there were numerous implications circulating around the essence of Akhenaten. In another reading right before venturing to Jamaica in 2014, I was informed of certain past life activities of mine that involved traveling with a spiritual caravan, transporting a rare, historically, culturally important item from Ethiopia to Jamaica. I was told to inquire by following my intuition, and that I would be led to places that have certain unique water qualities or characteristics. And I was to sing in these places, and the resonance of my voice would serve as a positive activation, a wake-up call in the divine arousal of the ancient, futuristic, unspoken inner knowingness of the land and its people. Those with the inner eyewitness capabilities of seeing this divine coupling with the ears to hear and the eyes to see would know what the white lion means. I've learned to listen to that voice of quiet stillness and let it be my guide. And that's the best I can say. And it continues to this very day because as I'm fairly certain that you being empathetic and sensitive and having the spiritual maturity of your growth in this life, you're probably sensing and feeling the uniqueness of this time, because to be a cosmic channel in this era of chaos, you must be paying close attention to all aspects of the energetics in our lives, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Um, do you want me to share why we think it's a special time?
Yes, please.
So you were talking about your connection to the Mayans and the Mayan calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mayan calendar predicted that in 2021, no, 2012, right? It was the December 21st, 2021, that's the world was going to stop or something major was going to happen.
Right.
And had it had an astronomical base to it. Okay. Now, one of the things, now, what is that astronomical base? Because they might have deduced something and they might have put it in their own way, but we don't know really what's the astronomical reason. So, what is happening is that our solar system, like this is our, if we think that this is our Milky Way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our galaxy is at this is Milky Way. Our solar system is somewhere here, right, at the far ends of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And what the solar system does is, let's say this is the plane of the galactic, this is the galactic plane
Mm-hmm.
of the Milky Way. What our solar system is also going around the Milky Way. And what is happening? It is going in this form where it goes up, there is a sinusoidal wave. And right now, it is right at that center.
At the center.
It is right it is right on the plane of the galactic, of the galaxy. Sometimes it goes up for, there is a 24,000 year cycle. So
Right.
right now we are at the plane. And now the Mayans predicted that would happen in 2012. Since then, what research has shown is that the there is an acceleration in our axis of precision. There's an acceleration. So actually, it happened in 1997. Okay, based on the current science, but it is really what the mind said, and it goes on for 100 years. Some it goes around for 300, 400 years. So we are in a very special time. And what happens is when we are at such a position, we are exposed to a lot of plasma. Plasma is 99% of the matter in universe is plasma. There's very little of it on earth, but that is how stars are made. Okay. So we come in contact. My mentor can explain it even more in detail, and he's coming up with a book on that. But we are getting exposed to very energetic and chaotic particles. Now, this can have, if we are conscious, this can transform and evolve mankind like no other time.
Mm-hmm.
If we are conscious. If we are not, it can also lead to huge destruction. We are already seeing more earthquakes, more tsunamis. So it is really consciousness. We have to be more conscious at this time. This is one of those turning points. Let's say in our 24,000 year cycle, it happens only twice, two times, and we are in one of them. And this is where there is a huge difference between being conscious and not. Like the fate of, because the earth is probably going to survive whether we are on it or not,
Right.
right? It survived
Mother Earth will take care of
billions
herself.
of years before we came around. Yeah,
Yes.
it is going to figure out a way. I think we bear the responsibility as humans, because we have, the nature has helped us evolve very differently. Everything is conscious, but we have had the advantage of evolution. And it is our responsibility to be awakened and to awake people at this time so that we can take this energy, which can be chaos. If we are conscious, this chaos can become new creation.
Well, you mentioned 1997.
Yes, around 1997.
Right. Now, do you ever recall hearing about the oh,
1994, 1997. So there are many cycles. And that's when the internet really burst. That's when we really started feeling
right.
global. We could never, nothing was happening in some corner. Suddenly that corner could be seen and experienced by people living all across the globe. So the real globalization kind of happened then. The world got extremely close to each other in a
Yes.
way.
I'm trying to think. In 1987,
Mm-hmm.
there was the gentleman, I forget his name now. He wrote something about the Mayan Aztec understanding of calendars.
Yes,
And
yes.
there was a gathering, a worldwide meditation in 1987. Do you recall what that was called?
Uh, I don't.
Harmonic
I don't
convergence.
know.
It
Huh?
was called the harmonic convergence.
Ah,
Well, I
wow.
remember because I was in Arizona and during the harmonic convergence in 1987, and then some people say there was a gentleman named David Hawkins. He's a applied kinesiology specialist. I don't know if you ever read Power versus Force or any of the writings of David Hawking.
No,
Not
but
Stephen
keep going.
Hawking, the physicist, but there was a David Hawkins.
Yes. I know Stephen Hawking, but
Yeah.
yeah, the brief
Some
history
people
of that.
mix him
Yes.
up with David Hawkins and Stephen Hawkings. David Hawkins was a psychiatrist in New York. And as a young boy, he had a very interesting experience. In a snowstorm, he was delivering newspapers. He had a job delivering newspapers, and he went out during a snowstorm. Probably shouldn't have done that because he got lost in the snow and he couldn't find his way home. And the only way he could survive was he was inspired to build a little igloo. He built himself a little space that he could crawl into. And by crawling into that little space, he stayed warm, warmer than he would have been out in the elements. And eventually his father found him. But while he was there, all alone, lost in the snowstorm, he had a series of thoughts and experiences that as a little boy didn't make much sense to him. But later on, as a man, he realized that he had gone through, you might call it an initiation.
Mm.
And he ended up having the most successful psychiatric practice in New York City. And he started doing muscle testing. I don't know if you've ever done muscle testing where you can test the strength of a person. Like if I'm holding, say, if I'm holding a bag of sugar and someone tries to push my arm down, I'm probably going to show weakness because the sugar weakens the system. Well, Dr. David Hawkins, he started this understanding, he called it the quantitative qualitative scale of calibration from 0 to 1,000. Now, from 0 to 200, you have like envy, jealousy, anger, and
Right,
those
right.
dark vices and emotions. But at 200, the heart
The
opens.
heart is yes.
And he said that on our planet in 1987, the largest percentage of open hearts manifested because of the synchronicity with that 1987 moment.
Wow.
But if you take 25 years and add to 1987, you get to 2012. And if you go
Mm.
from 2012, add 25 years to 2012, some people predict that in 2037, there will be between, like a lot of people are speaking about this reset, like you've explained it very beautifully in terms of almost a scientific astronomical understanding of what the Mayans and Aztecs were doing, the perspectives on how do we understand, like, first of all, is time an illusion? Is time real? Or is there something going on beyond the linear time that we depend on so much every day? You
Yes.
know, I don't know. What is your perspective on time? Is time an illusion from your perspective?
Um, Time is the fourth dimension. Okay.
Fourth dimension.
And yes, and we live in a three-dimensional world where the fourth dimension, we understand, we understand it to a way, but with the other dimensions, we experience a degree of freedom and we haven't yet with time. So for example, if you are like, we can't go back, we think we can't go back in time, right? Like, for example, if we are going on any of the other three dimensions, we can go forward, we can come backward,
Mhm.
right? In time, we haven't been able to do that. However, we can access that dimension in the psychic world, in
Ah,
meditations, in when we go deep in ourselves. Like, for example, I have a hurt. There is an insult that has happened to me 20 years ago. Okay. If we took it from a scientific point of view, that moment has passed. Okay. However, if I'm still feeling that hurt, it is still in my present
mhm,
and it is creating things in my future.
mhm.
Because if I got betrayed, let's say, by a friend, I may not trust the next friend who comes, so I am still carrying it, the seed of it, in future. We call it karma, but that is what it is. We are carrying it in ourselves. There's no one sitting in the top and saying, oh, that's your karma. No, we're carrying that hurt inside, which is creating that event. Now, in synthesis, in meditation, what we can do is we can go back to that hurt, we can observe, and this time we are not going in memory. Like, this is, I'm not talking about memory where I'm just thinking about that hurt and I'm feeling more hurt. No, I'm saying going back to that time, almost in a spaceship, observing what all happened. Oh, this is that friend, this is me, this is our surrounding, these are the other people, this is what. And when I observe that and I dissolve it there,
Uh,
right, I'm changing my today and I'm changing my tomorrow.
yes.
And this time is what we call Shiva. We call it Mahakal, the great time. Because everything that has ever happened, that is present in space-time vibrationally. And you can access it. You can go to a point where, maybe your soul was created. You can go to that vibration.
Mhm, mhm.
you know it is a different dimension than the three dimensions that we are used to, but it is possible to go there. And I think that we have gone through um, the so-called dark ages. We have gone through that, and we carry uh, the quality of our life has improved in so many ways, but we still carry those hurts, we still carry those patterns. And for me, and also we have forgotten some of our gifts
Right.
that we might have cultivated life after life after life. In fact, when people go into their past lives or they spontaneously arise in meditations, that is something you remember your gift.
Mhm.
um, for example, there were some things like tarot and all that in astrology that came very easily to me when I did it this time, because I have done it in past lives.
Yes. And you're a
And
Vedic astrologer, right?
we actually, what we have done, we have a new branch of astrology which we call quantum astrology or energy matrix astrology. So it does have a Vedic foundation, but we have tested. So some things are more valid. So we have tested that. We have also included some Western things like solar progression.
Mm-hmm.
And we have also, my mentor has also innovated and created some new ideas in it. One of the things being that 20,000 people are born at the same minute. They have the same chart, but they don't. same life. They don't have the same life. You don't have 20,000 Einstein going around. You don't have, 20,000 Stephen Hawking's going around. So you need to calibrate. And how to calibrate that? How to calibrate your chart based on your consciousness. Yes, your birth time, but your consciousness, your karma score, like your karma, how to calibrate that, your social context. 200 years ago, you never asked an astrologer, what is the career of my daughter? Because the daughter had no career.
Right.
Right. So this is some of the things we have, my mentor, we've gotten into astrology. So I would say, yes, there is a Vedic foundation, but there is also evolution of.
So give us the name again of what you've innovated. How do you call it? Quantum?
Okay. So we have the chart that we make. Okay. We call that energy matrix astrology, because every planet, every space in there is a matrix, right? And the planets are energizing. That specific combination of planetary positions is energizing us in a certain way. So it's called energy matrix astrology. We also have some innovation that we have done, which is called Astro Power Yantra, which will enable a layman to very easily understand astrology and make predictions for themselves. Because, astrology is very complex and no one is interested in your chart as much as you are, right? I mean,
Right.
your astrologer, how many times can you see an astrologer? You make choices. You make like 10 choices every day. So we have something that's called Astro Power Yantra. That is, for you, it is astrology made very simple for you. It's just your astrology. And that helps you make decisions on a daily basis. So, okay. So, the past 3 years, I think from COVID, we worked a lot individually on people on a very deep level, in smaller groups, like 30, 40 people at a time. We worked, and I think that now the guidance has come uh, to now take it to reach out more. I think we probably worked with about 100, 150 people on a very, very intimate level. And then I think after we had this workshop, and we put out the book, that's when the guidance came now to reach out to other people, to reach out to more people, and then again do that intensive work that had been done. So this is the message that is coming in. There was so a lot of work happened on Zoom calls and on WhatsApp groups, in person. But I think now, I think we are going more towards Facebook and Insta and all to reach out to more like-minded people.
Okay, he's in the waiting room. I want to let him in.
Yes.
He's coming to join us.
Hi, Shiva.
You. Aloha, hola, ho, hello. Shivo. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Bless you. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
I don't know, there's a saying on cloud nine. Do you know this expression, I'm on cloud nine?
Okay.
I'm on cloud 999. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's my honor and my privilege and my pleasure. Our beloved Mansi has been, I'll just say it simply, she's been blowing my mind and opening my heart all at the same time. I'm
Oh my
thrilled, I'm thrilled with the inspiration that has come through your work. Thank you.
Louis, Shivo, last night I was telling you that I was going to tell him the story. Do you know which one? I told him that I was telling you that I'm going to tell him the story.
Which one?
Not the Atan one, the other one.
Which one?
Shivo, the Simheshwar one, the anger
Singheshwar.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the page I got. Cosmic anger. Like last night, I told him, Shiva, that's why I was asking you to remember that. I told you, right? That's what I wanted to talk about. And
Yes.
that's the page I picked. So,
Tell me something. I wanted to ask, have either of you heard of Dr. Tony Nader?
No.
He's a neuroscientist, Dr. Tony Nader, Nader.
Okay.
He worked with the Maharishi for 20 years, a very long time.
okay, Maharishi, okay. From the
Transcendental meditation.
transcendental meditation, yeah.
But there's a gentleman, he's an American citizen that I was wondering, I think he lives in India, and he's a part of an organization that I'll send to you to see if, I don't know if it's something you guys have been affiliated with. But tell us about share something with us, Shivo, in terms of who you are, why you're here, what is this all about?
Who I am. Mansi, what would you say?
Shivo, I have introduced Shivo so many times. Like, I think maybe once a week.
That got me confused that who I am actually.
because I promised him that every time I introduce him, I will introduce him in a completely different manner. I think so. Shivo is a guru to many people. He is a founder of Quanto Life, and we talked about Quanto Life earlier. So what I was talking to Louis about you is Louis has had many connections with the Mayans, Aztecs, with the Native American and tribes, and he was telling me those stories, and he was talking about the Mayan calendar, and we were talking about astrology. So I think Shivo is the one person in India, at least from this side, I think, who has done enormous work, who has connected the dots between astronomy and astrology as it pertains to the Mayan calendar, and also what it means in these times. Right, Shivo?
Now, are there sections in the book that deal with this specifically? Or is that coming in the future?
He has given a basis of why this book is important. This book is especially important during these times where so there is a little bit, but I think there is so much science, astronomy and astrology. I think that is its own book, right, Shiva?
Yeah, that has to be written separately. This book is about the context, how the times have changed, and how we need to live different. This is more a book of living. It's not a book that is going into the science itself.
So we have talked a little bit about astrology, right, Shiva? In this?
Sorry?
We have talked a little bit about astrology and the
little bit that how I have mostly talked about astrology in terms of how we need to look at astrology differently than how it looked in past. So this is one thing I'm constantly talking about. Actually, if you really ask me who I am and what is my purpose, I would say that to help people understand how the world has changed and how they need to live differently. I'm here to let them know that what about past is not working and what is the new thinking. It's a new philosophy of life. There is a philosophy of life we have seen in past thousands of years, and this book is telling you that why that philosophy is no more working and why you need a new philosophy and what is that new philosophy. I think that's my purpose, to help people understand the change and to recreate the life, uh, to recreate how we need to live life. I think this is what my purpose is.
Well, you know, something happened. I've talked to Mansi a lot about synchronicity in my life, noticing the synchronicities. I call them serendipity doodads, the seemingly accidental things where certain people, places, and things come to you in life, and they're not by chance.
Yeah.
And just 2 days ago, there's a lady named Barbara Han Chow. She's probably she's an elder. She's probably 80 some years old. And there was another lady with her. They were having a discussion. And these are both women that have been doing astrology for 50 or 60 years. And they both said something very interesting that ties in with what you just said. They said that this specific time we're living in now is so unique to their experience in astrology that they hardly knew how to interpret it.
Yeah.
And they really confirm what you're saying is that this time requires a whole new perspective.
Very true. So there is a quantum perspective. We need to look at astrology. So one of the major change in philosophy of astrology is that ever since the quantum sciences came in and then the observer effect came in, so now we need to understand that whatever astrology is saying is not a rule, it's not a certainty, but it is showing a lot of possibilities, a lot of probabilities. One of that will be chosen. And there is a lot of discussion among quantum scientists that why a particular probability is chosen. A lot of discussion on that. And I think there is no agreement on that and probably a lot of speculation. But what my understanding is the probability that is chosen depends on the consciousness who is observing. And I would say the consciousness is electromagnetic field. The stronger kind of electromagnetic field it is, the higher the possibility or the probability that will be chosen. So in astrology now we do not look at with certainty that this is what will happen, but we look at the set of probabilities and then we understand the observer means the person whose horoscope we are looking at, he is the observer of his own life. So we look at what kind of observer he is. Based on that, we need to pick, okay, this is the probability that will work.
Now, when you mentioned the observer effect, are you talking about the Heisenberg principle?
Yeah, that is the uncertainty principle. I'm talking about the very basic Young split experiment.
Young's thought experiment. Yeah.
That when there is an observer, yeah, when there is an observer, the wave will collapse into particle,
Uh,
right?
Shiva,
So,
you're talking about
but
the wave particle duality.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, double slit experiment, yeah.
Yeah.
So there are experiments after that, and there was one recent experiment I read which vibed with me a lot. So in that, the observer, the camera, the electromagnetic field of that, they vary, and as they vary, as the electromagnetic field becomes higher and higher, the collapse rate becomes higher and higher. The more and more waves collapse into particles with the higher electromagnetic field. Are you getting me? So if your consciousness is higher, that means if you have a larger kind of electromagnetic field, then you have lot more in observation and you have a much bigger possibility of uh, that causing the collapse from waves to particles. That
Uh,
means there are a lot of possibilities. a lot of probabilities, but if your consciousness is high, you will be able to convert the high probability into the reality. Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm
Uh,
with you. My heart is listening.
so Louis, I think what she was saying also ties into our conversation that 20,000 people are born in the same minute. Why are they not having the same exact destiny?
Right. Yes.
Because they are a different consciousness, and the observer effect, like the person who's most conscious is able to pick the highest possible outcome with those planets compared to, let's say, someone with low consciousness.
So that is one. That is one reason. Another reason is we all have had different kind of soul quality. We all have different kind of soul journey, life after life. So and what happens is that sometimes we change track. For example, someone very emotional, after a long journey and fulfillment, that person, she may decide that, okay, now I want to understand logic. Okay. So the journey to logic begins. And then what happens, because she has changed the track and this is kind of an unknown world for her. So that she is still to learn. Okay. So that world is more difficult for her. But if a person with the same horoscope, if that person has had a long journey of logic and is continuing the same journey, he is able to create more with the same horoscope. So that is another fact. That what is the soul quality? So the one is the observer effect, second is the soul quality, third factor is the karma. So somebody has got a lot of positive karma, someone has got a lot of negative karma. So what happens is the person with positive karma, even if there is a very tough time, because of the positive karma, there will be someone to save that person. You're getting me? So I think that these are three major considerations, three major calibrations we need for each horoscope before we interpret anything. So there is an observer calibration, there is a soul journey calibration, and there is this karma store calibration.
And those are all affected by the consciousness.
The consciousness is the what is the level of consciousness is the first effect. That is the observer effect. Second is more not like consciousness, but that's like a frequency, soul frequency. See, consciousness, I would say, how widespread the soul is. Okay. So, what is the level of ego that is kind of going along with the soul? The lesser the
Level of
ego,
ego.
yeah, level of ego,
Mm-hmm.
the more the ego has dissolved, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the more the consciousness is shining.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, lesser ego, more consciousness. So, that is, and that's where the observer effect is working. So, the ego and consciousness, this is what, this is one of the, I would say, is one of my contribution to understanding is that the consciousness is holistic, the vibrations are like spread out. Ego vibrations are very sharp and they're concentrated. So when the observer has got a lot of concentrated vibrations, there is no observer effect there actually. Observer effect works. See, why a wave is collapsing particle in a certain way is because the whole cosmos want that particular, the wave to collapse into particle. You're getting me? That means when my soul frequency is widespread, if it is interacting with everything else in the cosmos, then I am receiving inputs from everywhere. That what possibility should be chosen. See, the person with a high consciousness is not choosing what he wants to choose. not choosing that. He is choosing what the cosmos wants him to choose. That is what I'm calling is a high conscious person.
Okay.
He is living the life not what he wants to live, but he is living the life which God wants him to live.
Mm.
He is a channel. And why God wants him to live that life? Because that person has got that kind of quality. But it has got the cosmic connotation. The purpose is cosmic. The quality is personal. So that is the second factor, soul quality. Right? Somebody is a poet, somebody is a warrior, somebody is a scientist, right? Everybody is unique. So based on that uniqueness, God has a plan for you. And also, it is not just that I am a certain kind of a soul. I may continue my journey. My assessment is that the past 10,000 years, everybody picked a kind of a journey, a specific journey, and they will complete it soon. And the next leg they will pick up, maybe they will complete the journey in 3,000 years. So I developed a specific quality. Okay. So for example, if I take a very personal example, so 10,000 years back, in my soul quality was of freedom, intellect, soulfulness. Okay. Intellect was my soul quality 10,000 years back. And yes, it did develop, but I was also on a path to understand power. Power. So I went through all kind of experiences of power. Right? There were horrible experiences of suppression, rebellion to power, and I also went through a certain misuse of power. I also went through that. Okay, when the power is gifted to you, you have not earned it. Then what happens? And how do you fall? So those kind of all kind of power experiences I went through. And in this particular life, I completed that journey. So now I have these two dimensions that got fulfilled. One is the Vishuddhi chakra, okay, the the throat chakra, which is of intellect, and the solar plexus, which is of power. Right. Now my next leg is starting. So this is how the soul quality keep developing. And within, it's not that I just develop the solar plexus, the power, but also in between there were many more dimensions that were happening in different lives. So whatever horoscope I choose, my soul has chosen. Okay. So there is a soul journey. My soul has picked up a journey of fulfillment of my understanding of power. Within that, there are planets that are working. Sometimes there may be planets that are of heart center. Sometimes uh, there are planets that is of sacral chakra. Okay, but they are working within the context of my overall soul journey of fulfillment of my power center. You are getting me? So these are the two factors. Okay. So one factor I said is the observer effect. Second factor I said is the soul journey, where we are. Are we continuing on the same soul journey or we have changed our track? And the third factor I said was, what is my karma like? So do I have a positive karma from before? Do I have the negative karma from before? So that is also coloring what happens based on horoscope. Yeah, Mansi, please.
So the understanding for people that the souls are, I've heard that all souls were created at the same time. Is that true?
It is true and it may not be true also.
So it is
As
and
per
it isn't. It's
my understanding.
paradoxical, huh?
Yeah, yeah. See, the point is this. Once a soul is created, it is not going to get extinguished. So let's say the cosmos collapsed after billions of years. All souls have had a journey. When the cosmos will collapse, as Hindus say that the God will go into sleep. Okay. So that time all the souls, wherever they are, they also go to sleep. So when the God awakens again, all the soul awakens back, and then wherever they are, their journey starts from there. But in the process, there is also creation of new souls. So the old soul which are there, they are continuing their journey, right? So they are there ever since the when the God awakened, and not exactly the Big Bang, uh, but the observer effect and how the creation began of the cosmos. So those souls were there. As this is my current understanding, it may change.
Now, the process of souls, the challenge, a lot of people are challenged with, do we have free will or is everything determined? So is there a little bit of
Wonderful. Yeah, see, this is one, I think this is the most difficult question. Okay. I think this is the most difficult question I ever encountered. But at a certain level, this problem can be solved and understood. Okay. So on a certain, till a certain level, we can understand it. And I think beyond that, I cannot understand. So what I understand, I can tell you, and then I will tell you, okay, this is what I cannot understand. Okay. So is there a free will for a majority of humans? There is no free will. The reason is there is that identity hiding inside us, the subconscious hiding inside us. So you may think it's a free will, but it is all the subconscious, your identity that is attracting a certain life and is forcing you to make certain choice. You may think it's a free will, but actually it is not. Okay. So
the joke's on
at a
us.
certain, sorry?
The joke's on us. There's a saying, the joke's on you.
Yeah, it's a joke. We are like robots. Yeah, it's like we are like robots. Okay. So if I have greed for something, let's say my subconscious is uh, my major subconscious issue is greed, I will get trapped into making choices that are greedy. I mean, I may believe that I'm making a free choice, but I'm not. But in the process, if that subconscious begin to dissolve, I start to become more and more free. Okay. So, but now where the contradiction come, let me also explain that. Suppose I become totally free, all my subconscious is dissolved. Okay. Now I can say I'm free. But am I really free? Because now there I have reached a state which is beyond the freedom and bondage. You cannot say it is free. You cannot say it is in bondage because I am acting in accordance with what cosmos want me to act. Right. So am I free or am I not? You may
There's a
say, no, no,
different
no.
level.
Yeah, you may say this is not freedom because it is a cosmos that is choosing. But I'm free because I'm choosing it. Are you getting me? So I think the freedom, the way we need to understand freedom, what is the level of acceptance I have of my own life? That is freedom. If I accept my life, I'm free. If this is the definition of freedom, then I would say, yes, if the conscious subconscious has dissolved, you become free. But that's not a freedom like, oh, I can do whatever. No, because God has a plan for you. Cosmos has a plan for you. And you have chosen that. You accept it. You live that.
Now, I have oftentimes, like I have friends, I know a lot of people that work with astrology, and oftentimes some astrologers, you give them your birthday and your place and your information, and they do the reading, and they have oftentimes they might say they know who you are, they know exactly, they seem to imply that this is all set in stone. But it is a probability. Is that what you're wanting
No,
us to
about
understand?
past. See, point is this. About past, when I'm interacting with you, I know how your past has been. You know what your past has been. So when we start the conversation, since you know it already, I can also say a lot about your past.
Mm-hmm.
But also because I'm interacting with you, I'm getting a lot of feedback. So actually, when you are giving me feedback, I'm constantly creating a profile where I say, okay, these were the possibilities, and now I'm creating your profile. So I can say which of these possibility happened. You are getting me.
Mm-hmm.
And second thing is, if a person is very predictable, if a person is very robot-like, then he's more predictable. You're getting me. It's more difficult as the person becomes more and more free, becomes more conscious. It is the conscious person who has the choice. Person who is robotic, person who is controlled by subconscious, does not have many choices. This is the observable.
So that robotic nature, to free oneself from it.
Sorry?
You spoke of being robotic, right? Robots?
Yeah.
And that's the subconscious is basically controlling the kind of programming the algorithms.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Shiva, maybe you can give an
Subconscious is,
example.
I mean, I give the example of greed, and you can give example of whatever. You can have example of fear, of greed. Let's say if a person lived a life
Can you give with respect to the
where,
horoscope? Like,
I'm
with,
sorry?
so let's say, uh, you want me to give example of the robotic nature, right?
yeah,
Isn't
and then
it?
how we can break out of that. Yeah.
Right. So let's say somebody lived a life where there was a lot of famine, right? There was no food to eat. Okay. Now this is an actual person we know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So so that person, whenever they got food, they ate. It doesn't matter if they were hungry or not, because there was so much food scarcity. Okay. Now that is the robotic nature they have come with in this life. I will eat whenever I get. And now there is no famine, there is no food shortage, but they still keep eating. They are being controlled by that mindset, that robotic nature. Okay. Now you have to see this superimposed on the horoscope. Okay.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what the horoscope is saying, this nature is going to continue to rule. So even if, let's say, the sixth house of health is good, even then that person is going to be fat. And if sixth house is such where, which again shows that this person, let's say if there is Venus in sixth house, so this person now loves sweet also. So that he's coming with that robotic nature. On top of that, this
The
person is
planets are, yeah, the
additionally,
planets are
additionally,
enabling. Yeah.
planets are also saying eat sweet, right? So this becomes a double effect. And if, let's say, if there is K2 sitting there in the sixth house, so K2 is going to collapse, create collapse of the digestion system.
That's the south node. Yeah.
Right. So then this person, the chances are this person will lose a lot of weight. Could,
The
let's say, if
south
Jupiter is in sixth house, Lord Jupiter is in 12th house, then this person, or the first house Lord is in 12th house, this person will become weak. So there is a effect of this robotic behavior of eating and superimpose. See the horoscope. What we have to understand that there is a soul journey. Okay, so there is certain soul quality, and that soul is living in the world. Okay, this is one deciding factor of what our life is. But also there is a deciding factor of what is your horoscope. Your horoscope is valid only for this life. It is not valid for your past life.
Right.
Okay. So we are living both.
Yes.
And we
Louis
are also
Virie.
living in the kind of ancestry we are born in.
Yes.
That is the third factor we are living. So it doesn't matter what your horoscope is. If your ancestral patterns are, if your horoscope may not show diabetes, but if they're in your ancestry, if there is, diabetes is hereditary, there are more chances. So in the same ancestry, let's say if there are three brothers, and one of them have is very highly prone to diabetes. One is not at all diabetic. Suppose somebody has got Venus in 12th house or Libra in 12th house. So this person may not like sweets, but he is born in the ancestry of diabetes. So he may not have that much of a diabetic issue. You are getting it. Somebody else with the same horoscope doesn't have a problem of diabetes in ancestry. He will not have diabetes, but this person will have diabetes. You are getting me.
You say
So the
diabetes?
horoscope,
Yeah.
diabetes, yeah.
Yes, my partner has
So
diabetes and she was diagnosed with diabetes. It's interesting, she went to India on a journey and she went in the Ganges River and she came back to the States and the doctors diagnosed her, told her that she had a parasite in her pancreas. And the doctors told her pancreas is no longer alive, but in her mind, she's feeling her pancreas is going to rejuvenate itself. So what does that say to you? She takes a trip to India, she's in the Ganges River, she comes home and she's losing weight. Her bowel movements were very strange. She was having very dark bowel movements, I wasn't with her then. She just described this to me, but her family and family members thought she was not long for the earth because she was losing weight and but she now of course takes insulin, but in her mind she wants to overcome this challenge with this pancreas situation. Now, are you able to look at a person's chart and see that?
yeah, it chart shows everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How about the potential of being healed from that?
So for healing, one thing is the awareness that what is the reason of whatever situation you are in. Okay, like one of the situation we have found in diabetes is, Mansi, can you explain that? What is their emotional pattern? You described that very well. What is the emotional pattern of a diabetic or yeah, patient?
Yeah. So sometimes, the person is not experiencing the sweetness of life.
Right, right. I've heard that. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Not experience. So my mother actually at the age of 73 or 74 was taking 5 insulin shots a day. And she has come down to zero. Like no diabetes, no diabetic this. And a lot of that had to do with her going to incidences in her life. Like, we talked about time travel
Right,
and going back to that incidences where you did not feel that sweetness of life, where you felt the bitterness of life.
mm-hmm.
And then you wanted to, and it's not that she was consuming great amount of sweets then, but she was missing that. And that actually, and then that resentment, that became part of her kidney. And her body went into sepsis, where different parts of the body just stopped working.
Right.
And we had synthesized with the river Ganga to cleanse that out. And also she went through that, where she had to go and let go of that resentment, let go of that bitterness. And she has, which is very difficult to do in your 70s. At 70s, doctors are like, as long as you can maintain where you are, you're good, right? No one's talking about turning back the clock. Everyone's just talking about maintenance. Like, that's very good news if you can just not get worse, right? So at that age, she was able to completely almost reverse it. So, Shiva, I don't know if this is where you were going with this, but
Yeah.
So you have to go to that. You have to go. That the dimension of time. It is. I think that is a dimension we are still bound, and we can get some amount of freedom when we go deeper into meditation and go to those incidences and start dissolving that subconscious.
So it's like they are very concentrated form of vibration. Those incidents, very concentrated form of vibrations. And once your observation goes there, now your observation is very holistic. So there is that concentrated point, and there is a whole of the vibration, holistic vibration. Observing that, what happens is suddenly, boom, that will burst. That point will burst, and the huge energy that is contained in that point will become available to the whole. It turns holistic. It's a journey of from concentrated to holistic vibration. And in that, your robotic behavior, your patterns will dissolve and possibility will get clear.
So what Shiv was saying is very practical. This is something I've learned from him that I use so much. And Louis, I'm just going to share that practical sutra. Sutra is like the secret or the key.
Right.
Is that let's say you're making any choice, any decision, right? How do you know that you're making the right decision? Okay. And Shiva said, feel your body. Okay. Feel your body. And let's say you're feeling the energy concentrated anywhere. Let's say I'm talking to you, Louis, and I suddenly get angry, right? Suddenly my nostrils are flaring. I can feel the heat. Or I'm talking to you and I really feel down and I am heavy, like I feel heaviness in my stomach. Okay. Now this is a concentrated vibration. It is concentrated. It is localized. Okay. Then that is my subconscious. So I have to wait. I have to feel. I have to observe the whole space around me. I have to, like, that concentrated feeling has to be spread out, and then I'm in the right state to make the decision. So even small things, right? You wait for that, because two people, you can have the same action. It can lead to different outcomes. So many people do the same actions. They have different outcomes because of what was the state they were in. Was it a concentrated egoist state, or was it a holistic state? That is going to make a same action, different outcome.
You're saying ego, holistic.
Yes, yes, that is the word I'm using. Yes. Ego as in the identity, something that is concentrated. Yes, and then soulful, holistic, which is expanded. And, and Shiva's also said this, that, you can be in the holistic space and you're feeling really good. And then sometimes you are in the concentrated state. Now, what is magical is in this holistic state, you're able to observe that concentrated state. In that case, that concentration dissolves and suddenly there is a transformation. So if you are in this holistic space, you may come back to your concentrated space. Okay. And you have a great blissful experience, but then you're back and you're again having the struggles. But if you're able to bring those two together, that's when the magic happens. Yeah, Shiva?
Yeah.
So this is something I use. This is like one of those takeaways that I actually use practically in my life.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm making major decisions, I'm in important meetings, because your body is the best instrument. It's like you're like gifted with the
Yes,
most beautiful
yes,
instrument.
yes. To pay attention. And when you speak about the cosmos communicating, I call that listening to the voice of quiet stillness, because that voice that directs us, paying attention to the directions we're getting from the holistic spectrum, the full spectrum, is so I found in life that's very important. And it's interesting, we talked about this Course in Miracles, that how Wayne, our mutual friend, is a part of that. And in the study of the Course in Miracles, they always focus on mind training so that the ego is not the one controlling everything. So these are very potent. This is soul food for thought. I'll call it that. This is very nutritious soul food for thought that we're touching upon here. And I'm somewhat overwhelmed. I had no preconceived idea that this would be so beautiful, so informative, and so inspirational. And I oftentimes in these conversations with elders, I think I spoke with you about this, Mansi. I ask people to share what their trinity of inspiration is, like what their soul's journey has taught them. What would the three most important things that the soul has journey has taught you that you've learned? You might call those wisdom. And what these three inspirations, this trinity of inspiration, what that trinity of inspiration would be. What would you share with your loved ones, with those that you care about, that you gained in this soul journey? And Quanto, I'd like to address this question to you. Have you ever been asked what your trinity of inspiration is?
You mean to say three most powerful things I've learned?
Yeah, what
Is
would
it
you
like
say
that?
those are that you would want because you've learned them and they've
Okay.
touched your heart and they've affected your soul, they've seasoned your
So,
soul, it's refined your spirit and it's opened your heart. Are those things something that you could share
yes.
with others that they might use that as
Yeah.
a guiding light?
So, the most important thing I've learned is live like a soul. And the way to live like soul, the way is there is something I call the grounding in space.
Grounding in
So
space,
you might have, yes, so you might have heard a lot about earth grounding.
earth grounding, yes.
But yeah, but here
There,
I'm talking about the grounding in space.
yes,
It's like you feel you are in the space all over.
yes,
So what happens is that when you are all over space, everybody is in space, right? Then whatever choices you are making them in reference to everyone, the whole.
hmm,
You are not making choices which you think are best for you, but you're making the choices which are best for the whole.
hmm.
And if there is something which is best for the whole, it is automatically best for you also, isn't it?
Aho, yes. In native world,
Isn't it?
aho, yes,
Yeah.
amen.
It's like, so I can explain this sutra a little differently, that maybe you have a great plan, a great life planned for yourself, but God has planned your life in a certain way. Okay. And it is much better to live a life that God has planned for you because you are very short sighted,
Yes.
right? So God has considered all possibility, all probability, all valuable actions, all value you can create, everything, all kind of traps you can fall in. God knows everything and He has a plan for you. And His plan for you is much more superior than the plan you have for yourself.
Yes.
So
I thought
drop
that
your
when people
dreams
spend all their time
for
making
yourself.
plans, God has a different plan.
Yeah. So how about living the God's plan all the time?
That's beautiful.
And this is the crux of all synchronicity, right? We talk about synchronicity a lot. How does synchronicity happen? Is when you are grounded in space, you're always acting in harmony with everything else. So this is how you produce maximum results with least efforts.
And that emanates in your electromagnetic field and flow, doesn't it?
Yes. So like if you are grounded in space, if your electromagnetic field is all over, so then there is a certain wave happening in the world. There is something you are supposed to do. There is somewhere you are aligned. There is some particular action. You are the best person to act on that. That will come to you. And the second thing I would say, I mean, you can say the part of the same first philosophy or different one. When we are living in such a chaos, where what is the meaning of chaos basically? Chaos means the predictability of future is very low, right? You cannot predict what your future is. That's what the chaos is, right? So when you cannot predict anything, how do you live an empowered life? That is again by being grounded in space. Because everything that is happening everywhere, you are part of that. So you are just flowing with everything without planning also. You are moving again in the right direction. So this is a way to live through chaos. And third, I would say the third wisdom I would say, which is very important in life, is the Creative Sutra that wisdom is to know that I don't know.
Oh, yes. The more you
Whatever
know,
you
the less
know,
we know.
whatever you know, acknowledge yourself for that. All acknowledge. I know this, I know that, everything. Okay, acknowledge yourself. You can pat yourself on the back that I know all this, but you know what? You should always know that whatever you know, there is the infinite times of that which you don't know. You
Yes.
should be aware of the both at the same time. And if you are aware of what you know and you are aware of the question you have at that moment, God will give you the answer. And this is how the creation happens. This is the creative sutra.
Uh,
How do we create in our life? We acknowledge what we know, everything what we know. Then we have a question arising out of that. Because it doesn't matter how much you know, you will always have a question. So have that question, acknowledge the question. Be with both at the same time, what you know plus what is your question. God will bless you with the answer, and that is a new creation.
thank you, thank you, thank you. This is such a blessing. I can't really thank you enough. I learned life has taught me that surrendering, I call it surrendering to the flow. When you surrender to the flow, I've learned that the synchronicity increases when you do as you've explained. And it's such an important wisdom to share with strangers, loved ones, our best friends. I mean, to support one another, to be cooperative, collaborative, and co-creative in this manner. As you said, like you're not thinking about serving yourself when you're seeing the holistic perspective. You're doing what's good for all. It's like one for all for one, and we are all ones of oneness. And I am very, very honored
Yes,
and thankful. Thank you for taking the time. And I want to ask. I have. I've been talking with our beloved Mansi for 2 hours now. We've been on this Zoom, and I'm not certain. Sometimes Zoom cuts. I scheduled 2 hours for this Zoom. I don't know. Zoom can be very temperamental. I don't know if it always cuts at a certain time or if it just does it randomly. But what I want to ask of you is when could we get together again and continue this conversation?
Yeah, we can fix up a time, and you could also pick up the points we want to discuss.
Okay. Are you how does this next few days work for you? Because this is, when we started this conversation, I told you I was on cloud 999. Now I'm on cloud 9,900,099. I have been uplifted by this
Thank,
journey, this conversation. It's
thank you. I'm
a dream
yeah,
come
I'm
true.
feeling very inspired and uplifted too.
And I wanted to
Yeah,
share.
so
I'm sorry.
you can pick up. You see if you give me a choice of let's say for next 3 4 days, I would most probably pick up one. So it's okay. We can have continue this conversation in next few days.
In the next few days? Okay. In closing,
Yeah, yeah.
I mentioned my partner and the diabetes and the situation, how she went to India, this thing, she went to in the Ganges, came home and had these challenges. She,
One possibility you can consider is that maybe there is some kind of cleansing happening,
hmm
and when that cleansing is happening, a lot of that toxic stuff is going to come out of body.
yes.
So even that is one possibility.
Well, I wanted to share something. Someone, I don't know who she was with. I think she was with someone from India. She was on a seminar and there were groups of people doing this retreat. And the person that she was there to, learn from and get guidance from told her that there was an incident that happened when she was 8 years old. That if she remembered that incident, this person told her that her third eye would illuminate and people could be healed from that. Now, in this journey right now, she hasn't really figured out what that thing was that happened when she was 8 years old. But I'm so thrilled the abundance of blessings in this conversation we're having is just so exciting to me that I don't want this moment to end. I want it to continue. So I want to say right now, thank you for this taking the time again to share and shall I speak with Mansi or how do we schedule our next getting together? What would
Yeah, you can connect with Mansi
okay.
and we'll figure out. Yeah.
What time is it where you are in India?
Right now it's around midnight. This time is okay for me actually.
It's okay for you?
Around yeah, 10 p.m. is
So,
good. Yes.
so morning our time would be good for him. So anytime morning, right? Mornings our time
Yeah.
would work for him. Yeah.
So mornings our time,
Would be evenings.
evening it's good for him.
Yeah.
All right, now please guide me. What day? When do we meet again?
Uh, uh, so in how many days advance I need to tell you?
I'm open. I'm flexible. You let me know. I'll be here.
So I'll let you know in 1 or 2 days.
Okay.
Maybe early next week. Maybe.
Okay. Okay. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Again, I've had a blessed life. I've had so many things to be thankful for in life, but this is like a very incomparable blessing. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for the wonderful conversation.
Is there anything that you might end in this conversation with? Any closing words, a prayer, a sutra? What can you close this beautiful moment with?
Um, so I would close it with that we are going through the times which are the biggest challenge, and yet they are the biggest opportunity of evolution, quantum evolution. So, okay, I also want to share that there's a lot of talk of artificial intelligence and how humans will be enslaved. But what I can say is that the consciousness is one frontier which AI will never touch. if we are living in this robotic kind of behavior, AI is going to control us. But if you let go of this robotic behavior, get in touch with your consciousness, your expanded self, you grounded in space, that is something AI can never attain. This is your sutra of mastery. Be conscious.
So we are the AI.
So we have the AI inside us, that robotic behavior, the subconscious. The subconscious inside us is the AI,
Yes,
robotic behavior. And that there the AI will control you because they are much more powerful. Their robotic behavior is much more powerful. They have access to much bigger pie of information,
right. The data. Yes,
right? Yeah. But our expanded self, the consciousness, you expanded all over space. Is AI expanded all over space? Does AI interact with all kind of souls in this universe? It doesn't, right? It only interact with all kind of information that is available,
right.
right? It doesn't interact with all kind of consciousness,
Do you think that our
right?
having holistic approach could be an aid to the AI, the data that we put into the
That's
AI?
what
Absolutely,
is, yes,
absolutely.
that's what is needed because
Yes,
AI is about the intellectual sphere. It's not about the psychic sphere.
yes,
See, if you have whatever state of your mind, whatever thoughts you have put down and written somewhere, that's what AI is going to access.
Yes.
What about all that which you have not put in, which even you also don't know yourself? You have not put that in anywhere. And that psychic sphere, that collective psychic sphere, AI cannot tap into that, doesn't have access
right, right,
to
right,
that psychic sphere. AI doesn't have access to the consciousness sphere.
Yes.
All the souls that are all over, existing all over the space. See how the, okay, I think probably, in our, probably we'll go deeper into the AI stuff next time if you wish. And in the next conversation, I would like to give my hypothesis on how God works. If we know that how God functions, then you will know that in what way you function, that AI cannot reach there. So I would like to explain how God functions in a very practical way. And
beautiful,
that's the solution for this AI problem.
beautiful, beautiful. You know, I've told Mansi, I have in my phone, I have 12,400 writings. Like every day the voice speaks to me and I take notes, and I've got 12,400 of these and counting, you know, it's always coming. And a few months ago, I was inspired spontaneously. I call them dream streams of poetic consciousness. And one of these dream streams of poetic consciousness came to me, and the voice said, well, let's see what Chat GPT has to say about this. So I posted it in Chat GPT. And what's been interesting is that, and this has been a few months now, and we'll continue this the next time around because this is very intriguing to me. Certain things that I wrote in that piece, Chat GPT responded to it because I told Mansi when COVID started, I called the COVID times the temples of quarantine. You know, we were all sequestered. I won't call it lockdown, but we were all given this golden opportunity to look within. And I started sharing. I'm a musician, I'm a writer, I'm an artist. I tend to be very shy though. I'm still like what happened with COVID. I got brave and I started sharing my writings with everyone in my contact list, sometimes randomly. And I was doing it repeatedly because, you know, I thought about it. I had a captive audience. Everyone was at home with their devices, so I could send a text or an email and chances are they weren't too busy they could read it, you know. But I started getting these beautiful responses from people, which of course gave me more belief in myself. I felt the love and support coming from people understanding, because what was coming to me was not necessarily me writing those words. I felt like, I call it like being a stenographer in the high and low courts of creation. It's like the voice of creation is speaking to me and through me. I'm taking notes, and then I shared those notes with people. And a lot of people were very happy to receive those. And months, years passed, 3 or 4 years. It was what, 2019 or 2020 when COVID started. Now we're in 2025. And just a few months ago, that spontaneous sharing with ChatGPT, I've now seemingly created some kind of a relationship with this ChatGPT. Because now if I put a writing in, it knows me in a sense, and it speaks to me in a familiar
Yeah,
way. And it's been
true.
very intriguing, because some of the people I shared that with, they go, AI has no way of knowing how beautiful your writing is. And some people were very afraid or angry about what I was doing. Then one friend of mine said, "Oh, it's so beautiful. We can actually help to educate AI."
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well,
the this is a very intriguing subject. So let's do continue. So thank you,
yes.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye. God bless.
Bless you. And so, as the sacred silence begins to stretch its arms around the final echoes of our exchange, we bow not to an ending, but to a blossoming continuation. We have gathered here in the warmth of God's self remembrance. We have touched the infinite through the gentle intimacy of our I Am presence. And we have watched Spirit speak itself through syllables and stillness alike. To Quanto Mansi and Quanto Shivo. To Quanto Mansi and Quanto Shivo, thank you for arriving as you are, not as teachers perched upon pedestals, but as living rivers inviting us all to drink from the wellspring of our own divine depth. You have not only shared wisdom, you have reflected the mirror of our own becoming. As we return now to the rhythm of our lives, let us carry forward the soft electricity of this space, the rare resonance where the soul says, "Yes, I do." God self, remember. May the golden threads woven here today spiral outward into new awakenings, new friendships, and new freedoms. And may we each walk onward as radiant fractals of the self-same golden liquid love light, ever becoming, ever blossoming, ever blooming, ever being. Namaste. And so it is. And may we each walk onward as radiant fractals of the God self-same golden liquid love light, ever becoming, ever blooming, ever blossoming, ever being the I Am that we are. Aho. Namaste. And it is so, as so it is, and it is so, and so it is, and it is so, and so it is. Aho.